What's up, guys? Welcome to episode number 6 of Randy Starts a Side Hustle. I have a treat for you guys today, I have one of my very best friends that I've known since about the year 2000. I'm going to attempt to give you a little bit of information about Bud Nemeth, okay? Bud has become one of my best friends. He is my mentor, my life and business mentor. Him and I speak on a daily basis. We've been working together since we met in the year 2000. When I met him in the first company that we worked together was Excel Communications. He was one of the top guys in the company. He had reached the level before the top position in the company. He was almost there. We worked that company for a while. We built that business really big in about 27 states. Him and I were working from home, making great money, living the dream, okay? Bud, when I met him, what really excited me about him is that he played for the University of Miami, the U, okay? He's got 2 national championship rings with the Hurricanes, okay? That was one thing that got me super excited about hanging out with Bud. It was awesome. We used to pound the pavement. We used to go out, hit the road every day in the morning. We would start our day. I remember when I met Bud was when I started my relationship with the Lord, with Jesus Christ, when I really took it to the next level, when I started to build my personal relationship with Jesus, Bud was part of that. Bud, we would have a devotion in the conference room at our office in Coral Gables before we would start our day every day. Sometimes it would be 2 of us, sometimes it would be 10 of us, okay? It was amazing, okay? We did that company for a while. When we were with that company, I ended up moving with Bud to Texas to launch local telephone service over there in Texas when they deregulated the bells back then, the local telephone service, which we don't have anymore. But I remember that. That was a really fun time. Then that company went out of business, filed Chapter 13, and you know what? We had to start over. We had to find something else new to do. Our income went from super awesome income to zero from one day to the next. He actually called me on April Fool's Day. I remember, I'll never forget, bro. You called me on April Fool's Day, and Bud always likes to trick me and get me on April Fool's Day. And he called me, he goes, bro, I got bad news. I go, what is it? He goes, Excel filed Chapter 13 today. And I go, bro, stop playing around with me. I know it's April Fool's Day. Beam, 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 beam. And you know what? It was too true. It wasn't a joke. It was 100% true. After that, him and I have worked in multiple companies together, okay? He is an amazing human being. This guy is the guy that calls me out on my stuff if I'm doing something I shouldn't be doing, if I'm not doing something I should be doing, okay? He'll call me out of it. He puts me in my place. He has been, he's like a father figure to me, okay? I lost my dad in 1999, so it's been a while already. And this man has been like my father, okay? We have been working together for many years. We just finished a run. We were doing genetic testing, and we went from making 5 figures a month, okay, that we were making, living good, having a great time, to making 0 again. We got crushed by a couple of the laboratories that defaulted on their contracts, stopped paying us, happens, and we've had to start over again. And here we are, doing it again, starting over again, living the dream. Okay, I can go on and on about this man. This man is a godly man, puts God first in everything that he does. I'm so proud to call this man my friend. I want to bring him up, my very, very best friend, Mr. Bud Nemeth. What's up, Bud? I've been looking forward to doing this podcast with you, man.
I know you have. I've been looking forward to doing it with you, and I mean, I can't thank you enough for even inviting me on here. I mean, I feel honored to be a guest because you and your whole team do such an outstanding job with these, and the quality of guests that you've had and that you've got lined up for the future, just to be part of that group, I truly am honored, and I thank you for having me. And most importantly, I thank you for your friendship over the years. I mean, it's not even friendship, it's family. So I thank you for that.
It's been an amazing run. All right, so I'm gonna start asking Bud a couple questions. I got a lineup here of questions. I don't know if I'll go through all of them because we have so much that him and I can speak about. But let me start with this one, Bud. Bud, you've been, like I said, you've been a pivotal figure in my life, in my business journey. Can you share a bit about your approach to mentorship and how it has evolved over the years?
Wow. Okay. Mentorship. So I believe the key person in the mentorship role is you, not the mentor, but you, the student. Because if you're not ready to accept the teaching and coaching and accountability and all that stuff, then there's no point in having a mentor. If you're not going to listen to them, you don't need to have a mentor, him or her. The first company I joined, I was successful in the restaurant business. I had been blessed with some great success. And when I was introduced to this company, to Excel, back then, the whole concept of network marketing, which was new to me at that time, I said, "Oh, I can do this. I'm successful in this." Of course. So I was being taught by somebody who had retired at an early age from the A company, Amway, had made a bunch of money and retired, did whatever he wanted, whenever he wanted, however. And he was telling me what to do. And for the first 2 months, I wasn't listening because I thought, I don't need you to tell me how to be successful in business. But, after 2 months of bumping my head into the wall and bleeding and stuff, I finally submitted and went back to him and said, all right, tell me what to do. I've never been in this type of business or this industry. What do I do? So when I submitted, then, the mentor was there, and the mentors are there. They're all over. But if you're not ready to receive that mentorship, then it doesn't matter. You've heard me say this probably 1,000 times or more, but, a lot of people have heard that saying that experience is the best teacher, right? But it's the second part of that saying that is the most important, and most people haven't heard that. As long as it's somebody else's experience, then they call that wisdom. In other words, so if I come up to a wall and it says concrete wall, and I look at that wall and I say, that doesn't look like a concrete wall, and I take my head and smash it into the wall, and I get a big bruise and blood starts trickling down my face, and I say, I'll be darned, that is a concrete wall. And then you come up behind me and you say, oh, that don't look like a concrete wall. I'm not going to let you bang your head into it, right? That's wisdom. That's, experience is the best teacher, but if you can learn that experience without having to go through it yourself, then that's wisdom. If you listen to the people who have done it before you and done what you want to do and take their coaching and advice and mentorship, you're going to have a much happier and smoother journey.
I remember Bud and I used to work in Bud's home office. He had half the room was his desk and the other half of the room was my desk. And then we had a wall in that room where we planted our map of the United States. And everywhere that we were working with partners and building the business, and we were in there, it was like a war room. I remember one day, talking about mentorship, I remember one day I was having trouble with my personal customers. In the business that we were at, you needed to have a certain amount of personal qualified customers. What I mean by that is long distance customers, cell phone customers, internet customers. You needed to have a certain amount to qualify for your bonuses and the big money that you were already generating with your team around the country and around the world, which I already had in place. Can you imagine? I already had the hardest part blowing up. The easiest part, getting my own personal customers, I was being the biggest wimp because you had to call your friends and your family and ask them to do you favors and help you out and be your customer. And I was totally wimped out. And this man has turned around and he says, because I was there, it was a couple of days before the end of the month. And again, I was going to miss out on a bunch of bonuses and money because I didn't have my personal customers. He turns around. This is what a mentor does, guys. And if you listen to your mentor, this is the way he did it. He turned around, and I'm not going to say all the things he said to me, but he pretty much told me, bro, you are being the biggest wuss. I can't believe that you're being such a wuss. He just tore me up. He did it so good and so well that I felt like a freaking fireball went up to my head. I felt my skull turn red freaking with blood because I was so upset with all the things that he just said to me, and they were a fact. They were true. Let me tell you, bro, that same day, I think I got 20 customers. That same day. How many?
Let me tell you this story, because this is where you became legendary, and I still talk about this over and over, and for years and years I've talked about this. That day, you got up early. You got up at like 8 or 9, and you were watching TV, sitting on the couch, and I'm saying, hey, when are you going to get to work? And you knew you had to gather customers, and you didn't want to do it. So after that conversation, you came in the office about 10 a.m., and you were fired up after our conversation, and you got on the phone, and it wasn't you were upset. You just kind of understood, I wasn't trying to make you, I was trying to motivate you, and it worked. And that day, in the next 14 hours, you gathered 27 customers in one day. Folks, you only needed 20, but he didn't stop. He went, the last customer he got at 5 minutes till midnight. He worked from 10 to midnight. I think he might have had a sandwich while he was talking, whatever, but you got so motivated and you just went and did it. You made it happen. And I think my highest number ever was 19 in a day, and you got 27 in one day. And it's legendary what you did. But when you understood what you were doing, and I think we can go back to that, and this may help some folks, is that, listen, if somebody asked me for a favor and they could give me the same product or service or better for the same price or less, and it was going to benefit me, someone they know, or it was going to benefit them, somebody that I know, instead of some corporate executive that I've never met, then I'm going to help them. And I asked you that same question. You said, of course I would. Okay, so give them a chance to help you. We weren't asking them to do something different or pay more or this or that. We were just getting them to change a service they already used and have it benefit us and our families and, friends, kids, parent, whatever, rather than some corporate executive to get his next jet. So it's mindset.
Yeah, no, you know what's stopping me? Let me tell you guys what was stopping me. And if I tell you, grab a piece of paper and a pen, this is the time to do it. Okay? And you write this down. This is what was stopping me back then. It was fear. False evidence appearing real was stopping me from getting my customers. And Bud, when I got on the phone, man, I remember doing it. When I was like halfway through the 27, it was so easy. I was like, what the heck was wrong with me? Why didn't I do this 2 years ago? I would have had 50 or 100 customers right now, because that's what people did. You kept gathering customers. So that if any of your customers fell off for whatever reason, they moved, something happened, and they had to disconnect, you still had enough cushion that you wouldn't lose your qualification.
Well, that fear, you're right. It was false evidence appearing. You thought in your head that you had to sell something, when in fact, all you had to do was ask for a favor that you would do for them.
And everybody said yes. Nobody said no. Every single person that I called and did it, and I did it the way that my mentor explained me to do it, showed me how to do it. I did it just like he said, and it worked. I just did what he said. There's a quick story that...
Legendary to this day, yes.
It was fun. I'll tell you a quick story about fear, and I'll never forget this. And if you remember, this is a good story. There was this guy that he went jogging every day. I'll never forget this story about fear. It's the best explanation to me about fear. And this guy would go jogging every single day. And every single day when he was getting near his house, around the turn, some part of the neighborhood, there was this dog that would come out and start chasing him, and he would have to book it, turn it up to fifth gear and book, or else he was going to get eaten. Well, let me tell you, man, one day he was just fed up with it, and he turned around and he screamed at the dog like, what is your problem? And when he noticed a dog standing in front of him, he noticed that the dog didn't have any teeth. So this whole time he was running from a dog that couldn't even do anything to him because he thought the dog was going to hurt him. False evidence appearing real. Guys, you got to face your fears head on. I always talk about that. If you do that, the challenges that you'll go through are simple. You just got to conquer it head on. Bud, next question, man. I know I talk about, I spoke about how we would spend time in the morning with the Lord and doing our devotional. How has faith played a role in your personal life and your professional life? And how do you integrate that in your beliefs into your business practices?
Well, Randy, to me, faith is everything. I mean, it's the guiding principle in everything I do, everything I say, everything I think. In daily life, it's all about the Bible. And, again, the acronym, basic instructions before leaving Earth. We want to make sure that we use that book daily. But there's a great book for business that I got years ago. It's called Business by the Book by Larry Burkett. And it's a great book. And the book that it's talking about is the Bible. So Business by the Bible. And there's a lot of examples in the Bible of business and how to conduct it properly and how not to conduct business, right? So that's big. But I think, once I became saved, prior to being saved, it was the WIFM, right? WIIFM. What's in it for me? That was my mentality with business. How much can I get? How much can I make? It was always about me, and when you're in a business, especially a relationship business, you come across, I used to record my calls and I would play them back and listen to them. I sounded, and please don't take this the wrong way because I've done this, but I sounded like a used car salesman where in my heart, I was just passionate about what I was doing. And I'm like, I'm trying to convey that passion. And sometimes you can come across salesy, right? So, after I was saved, instead of WIIFM, it was WCIDFY. What can I do for you? It was putting the needs of others first. How can I serve you? And when I started doing that, not only did my business change and start to explode, but my whole life improved. My relationships with friends and family and just everything improved. So, we can't, it doesn't matter if you make $1 billion, you ain't taking it with you, So we got to focus on, storing up our treasures in heaven, not here on earth. And again, if you, by the way, I don't know if I mentioned this, but, in Texas when we lived there, I went to Prestonwood Baptist, and Zig Ziglar was my Sunday school teacher, and I got to go to Sunday school and then lunch with him afterwards after big church. But
I went a few times with you, man, before I came back.
Yeah, when you came back, we started going regularly, and it was
pretty cool to have Zig Ziglar teaching us Bible study.
Oh, man, you think he's a great business teacher. You ought to hear him preach, before he passed. It was great. But, if you, put everything in perspective, and again, put other people, that term servant leader, but put other people's needs first. And one of Zig's best quotes ever that I live by, this is if you help enough other people get what they want out of life, you'll have everything you ever wanted and more. But don't focus on you, focus on how you can help others and meet them where they're at. So, yeah.
Good stuff, Bud. Now, Bud, Excel Communications was a significant part of your journey, our journey together, actually. Could you share some of the key lessons and experiences that time of your life shaped your approach to entrepreneurship?
Oh, you mean like the near-death experiences of handing out business cards in the middle of rush hour traffic in Miami with a business card that said IHateTraffic.com and call this number if you hate traffic too? Yeah,
remember, I handed one of those to Janet Reno. Remember that day?
Yeah, we did some crazy things. The experiences were awesome, but some of the best things I learned from there because of the great mentors that I had there, also that had been in the business and had crazy, like Carlos Ray and other people that had crazy success. I learned to be coachable. Again, very key. I learned to follow others who have accomplished in that company what I was trying to accomplish. So, as long as it was moral, ethical and legal, then I'm not afraid to work. I'm not afraid of hard work. So again, thank God over the years we've learned how to work smarter instead of harder. But again, neither one of us are afraid of hard work, and get out and do whatever it takes to grow your business. And that's okay. We'll get to it in another question. But yeah, I definitely learned because my major in college was advertising and marketing, and in 4.5 years there, the only thing I learned about network marketing.
Where? 4.5 years where? Yeah, boy.
The only thing I learned about network marketing, it was like one paragraph in one chapter of one book, one semester. It wasn't a real business to me, So, I had to learn. I had to submit and learn from people who were experienced in that. And again, I think when it's done right, it's the greatest business on earth because it empowers everybody to become their own CEO. And there's no caps, there's no limits. It doesn't matter. The computer just pays out. Doesn't matter your race, your weight, your religion, your gender. None of that matters. If you do the work, you get paid. And there's no cap. So I really believe when it's done right, it's probably the best business model on earth.
I believe it too, but I remember the first time I saw network marketing, Amway. Changed my game. That's where I learned. You got to read. You got to go to seminars, and you gotta read, go to seminars, and I forgot the third one already, bro. My mind. You have to be plugged into a system, reading and growing. Okay, now.
But I did learn a lot about how to build a networking business from listening to Amway tapes, because my sponsor, the guy who got it, and Mr. Rick Presley, who got us in,
one of the smartest humans I know.
Absolutely, and when I finally went back and submitted, I said, "All right, what do I do?" He said,
Rick, I can imagine.
He said, I'm going to give you 3 tapes. These were cassette tapes, so we're dating ourselves, right?
Yeah.
He said, I'm going to give you 3 of these cassette tapes. You listen to each one of them 3 times, and then I'll give you 3 more. He had probably thousands of them, right?
Me too, man. Me too.
And so I started, he said, whenever you hear the word Amway, think of Excel. Whenever you hear Diamond, think of Executive Director. Blah, blah. So I learned the culture and everything, how to build based on those tapes. And I got addicted. I mean, I would listen to them in driving, while I was in the shower. Whenever I had a minute, I would be listening to tapes. I just got addicted to them. And then I found out I could buy them from people. Some people would give them away for free because they were mad they never made any money in the company. But, so they give the tapes away, or I'd buy them for 10 cents on the dollar. I got a pretty good collection of those.
Yeah, I didn't need to make... Buddy, I didn't need to make any money in Amway. I got an education that was worth millions of dollars in Amway. And it changed my whole life, that company. I love it, and I'll never speak ill about it again.
I wouldn't either. It paved the way for many others.
Absolutely, still does. But I talked about how we've had success in the past and how we've had challenges where all of a sudden, chapter 13, the company goes out of business, and we got to start over, an incredibly challenging situation. What mindset and strategies have helped you navigate through these transitions and were able to rebuild each time? Because I know I've gone through them with you, but just your mindset.
So my mindset, Randy, and that's a great question, is, to never lose sight of my ultimate goal. And folks, my ultimate goal in business is to not work. I mean, that's it. And the reason is, my wife and I just recently celebrated our 27th wedding anniversary. I retired from the restaurant business like 6 months after I got into networking. I just fell in love with it, and I was making more money part-time than I was full-time at the restaurant. I did very well at the restaurant. But I just loved it. So, it just...
This is your own restaurant. When you had your own restaurant before that other company that you used to work for that makes a lot of cheesecakes?
I was general manager, part owner of a restaurant after college. But anything in my mind, anything that I could do, that I could work from home and work around my life, So I spent, my wife and I've worked from home full time for myself 26 now out of 27 years. All right. And so I've been able to be a full-time spouse. We've been able to be full-time spouses to each other. We have 3 grown children, 20 to 24. We've been able to be full-time parents. I was blessed to be able to go to those events and games and field trips and chaperone this and that when no other dad was there because they were all working. It was me and a bunch of moms, and me and my wife and a bunch of moms. So that was a huge blessing. And we made the decision early on that, she was going to stay home and raise the kids, and I was going to work from home and be there to be present. And I'll give you a quick story, Randy. So, yes, after, again, there's some great companies out there, and there's some not so great companies out there. There's some downright bad companies. But I went through a point where I would start with a company, and again, it's startup companies, and work with them and get growing and build it multiple times. I think there was a 3-year span where I worked with 3 different companies. We built teams of 10,000 plus each time, and each time those companies went out of business for various reasons. And I just got to a point where I said, I'm done. I'm going out in the real world. I'm going to get a job, whatever. So I did. I went to work, and I was working for a year for other people, 2 different people. I did kind of 6 months here, 6 months there. And it was the only time that I got a phone call one day that my daughter got hurt. It was the only time I've ever missed one of my kids' games. I missed my son's football game. I missed my daughter's soccer game. And one of those soccer games, my daughter got hurt. She got carried off the field by a friend, a father of her friend, because I wasn't there. And, after that, I just said, forget it. It's worth whatever challenges I have to face to not be able to be in control of my own time, So, I got back into business world, and then, you and I started working together and working more traditional businesses, but to be able to do it from home and stuff like that. It's been a blessing. But I learned a lot of lessons, but I learned, that's one thing I'm thrilled that, for 25, 26 years, I was able to be there and be present for life. So I love it. So,
yeah, let me tell you what Bud is speaking about now. I think we both have that same mentality. I experienced something when I was a child. And it's that my father was never able to go watch me play baseball. I played baseball, optimist ball, for 13 years. And I think my dad went to one of my baseball games.
Wow.
And I said, I will, when I'm a father one day, I will never miss my kids' games. Never. And, man, Bud, I send you video.
Sometimes you go to 2 or 3 games a day. Yeah, I know.
And you know the price that I pay, bro, so now I don't have to miss that stuff. I'll work all the way through the night to the next day in the morning on the days that I don't have games to make sure that the day that there's games, I have enough flow in the bank where I don't have to miss the games. I won't do it. I remember when Chloe was born, Bud, and I had done very well back in that time when I was working in the health insurance industry, and I was getting my residual every month, and I was getting a nice chunk of residual from my health insurance policies that I sold. So I was able to stay home when my beautiful, amazing wife, after just 2 months, I think it was, that she had to go back to work after Chloe was born. And I was the dad that got up in the morning. I dressed my little baby girl. She was about this big. Okay? And I would dress her up in her little outfits, and I would prop her up in the corner of the couch. And every single day, I would take a picture and I would send it to my wife. I remember I was that stay-at-home dad for a bunch of years in the beginning when Chloe was born. And now I still have the freedom to be able to assist my wife and my family because we have the business and the mentality, and we work and we are who we are when it comes to that. It's just, and I'm like you, man. It's not even about being rich, guys. It's not about being bougie. Yeah, I'm bougie. I like nice stuff. Bud knows me. Bud will tell me, dude, what are you doing? Why are you buying that? Because I like it. Because I like it. That's the way I am. But it's not about that. It's about the freedom. It's about not having to chase that damn dollar bill anymore. I just can't wait till I can hang that up and I'm done with it. And I can focus on doing the things I want to do. Spend my life giving my money away. Because that's what I want to do. I want to make so much that I can spend my rest of my life giving it away. Okay? Let's go to the next one. Don't get me excited, bro.
And that is possible. We know people who've done that.
Yeah, man. I watch people do it all the time, and it's got to be the best feeling in the world. I'll tell you, when I help people in the businesses that we are, and I help them make money, it's so gratifying. Can you imagine? We give people money, we help the homeless, we help the needy. No, dude, that's what I want to do. That's one of my dreams. Bud, as a former athlete who achieved success at the highest level in college football, how do you apply the principles of sportsmanship and teamwork to your business endeavors?
Good question. Well, it's all about teamwork. I mean,
together, everyone achieves more.
Absolutely. I mean, you listen. Just watched a little football game recently, a little Super Bowl, and while there's always an MVP, that MVP could go out there by himself against 11 other guys and lose 1,000 to nothing. I mean, it's a teamwork. It's a team effort. So I know that, and so I try to surround myself with the smartest, greatest people I can. That's why I always want to work with you and others.
Thank you, bud. Come on,
it
man.
is. No, I'm serious.
I love you, brother.
No, so I was blessed to play ball at University of Miami. I played from 86 to 90. Do have a couple national championship rings from that time, but I was coached by some of the best coaches in college football. In fact, 5 of the coaches that I played for ended up becoming head coaches in the NFL, including Jimmy Johnson. But that wasn't. But I'm telling you, some of the other coaches who didn't go on to that were even more incredible. But I got to tell you, they weren't just coaching us about football. Oh, yeah, Art's my favorite. Coach Kehoe's my favorite. Yeah, for sure. Well, him and Butch. But you know, the lessons that you learn in football apply in business, and they apply in life. I mean, the motivation, the determination, give 110% effort every time, never quit, guts, grit, you know, just do whatever it takes to be successful every time, every play. So here's the thing that most people don't understand, and it takes sometimes some great coaching to bring it out of you, is that each and every one of you listening to this, watching this, you already have it in you. You have success in you. God designed you. He didn't design you for failure. He designed you for abundance, right? So you have that in you. And there's people who will help bring that out of you. If you don't feel like you're there yet, seek out a mentor who's done what you want to do and is, you know, that kind of stuff. Yeah. So I've had some great coaches in athletics. So I've also had some great coaches in business like Zig Ziglar and, you know, Les Brown and so on and so on and so forth. So, yeah, I've been blessed to be there. And all that stuff transfers over into your real life. And your business. So
yeah, you apply the principles in business. Let me see, the genetic testing venture, Bud, that was another significant chapter in our life. Can you share some of the insights into the challenges that we faced in that industry and how we adapted and overcame them?
So that's the healthcare industry, the medical industry, is a highly regulated industry for everybody else except for the top. They can do whatever they want. They make the rules, that kind of stuff. I'm not going to say too much more, but how we overcame it is by leaving the industry. And there's some wisdom there too to understand that sometimes you have to recognize that, you know, the horse that you rode in on is not the horse you're going to finish the race on. because that horse that you're riding might just keep bucking you and bucking you and bucking you. They change this, they change that, they make the product less, they, take money away in the comp plan, blah, 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 all these things, right? Or that horse may be on its last leg. It may be dying, We've worked with some companies that we rode it all the way to the end, and then it went out of business, So sometimes you got to recognize when it's time to ride another horse, pick another horse. So, I always say I try to evaluate every company I'm working with and my mode of operation, my business plan, every 90 days. And then either in 90 days, I know whether something's working or not. So if it's just the business plan that needs a few tweaks here and there, fantastic. If everything I've tried that's worked in the past is not working here, it may be, I have to change, or it may be I have to change companies, and I've done that. And again, it has a lot to do with morals and ethics and integrity and all that stuff too. But yeah, so evaluate what you're doing, not only your company, but also your mode of operation, what you're doing every single day. And every 90 days or so, you can pick the time frame. You want to go ahead and evaluate that.
Yeah, you got to know when it's time to plan an exit strategy. Yeah. Yeah, bro, you've seen the highs and lows of entrepreneurship, but can you please share your advice and what would you give to someone who's just starting their journey, especially considering the uncertainties and setbacks that come with it?
Well, they need to know that that's going to happen, so it's setting proper expectations. But I guess my top three would be coachable, number one. Again, don't think you can do everything on your own. Submit and be coachable to those people that are willing to share their wisdom and experience with you, so you don't have to bump your head into the wall, right? Be honest with yourself. I kind of say, and the third one is take responsibility for your success or failures. Don't blame it on other people. Don't blame it on the company, my leaders, my blah, blah, blah. No, don't play the blame game. But I think I heard it best explained to me this way, and it really changed my perspective is somebody said to me, one of my coaches said to me, if your company, this is your business, forget the name of the company that's paying you, this is your business. So pretend that you're the CEO, because you are, of your own business, and pretend that you are hiring for a COO, the Chief Operations Officer, who's responsible for daily business, right? So imagine you have to pay that person $100,000 a year out of your own pocket. Now, knowing that, the person that you're chasing, the people that you're chasing after and begging and this and that, would you even hire them if you had to pay them out of your pocket? And I thought of something. I'm like, absolutely not. I wouldn't even interview them, right? But then why am I chasing them? Why am I begging them? I don't need them. I just need a few key people. So when you put yourself in the mindset of a CEO, because you are the CEO of your own company, no matter what you're doing, then it changes the way you look at things, for sure. So it got to a point where, again, take accountability, look in the mirror and say, if my employees did for my company what I did today for my company, would they get a promotion or would they get fired? And if they wouldn't get a promotion, then that means, if they do what you did and you would fire them, then here's the cool thing. I have fired myself hundreds of times. Cool thing is I've hired myself back. So I have the best boss and the worst boss in the world. That's me. Right? So yeah, those are probably the top three.
Yeah, I agree, man. We gotta be hard on ourselves. That's what makes it happen. Yeah. Keep ourselves on point. Reflecting on your experiences, what do you believe are the most critical factors for long-term success in business and in life, bud? I'm hitting you with some hard questions, man.
Yeah, no, I mean they're great questions. You've done your homework. Again, just going back to putting others first. Number one, I have a philosophy that I live by. I call it the 7F philosophy, and those F's are faith first, And you can put these in any order you want. Mine are faith, fitness, which never used to be for second, okay? And I'll explain that. But faith, fitness, family, friends, finances, fun, and future. I'll say those again. So faith, fitness, family, friends, finances, fun, and future. And I say that because if you'll picture in your mind a wagon wheel, I am in Tennessee, so I see a lot of those. But a wagon wheel with six spokes. Okay, so that wheel is faith. That's 24/7. That's constant in everything I do, in everything in life. There, I have that faith. Okay, but then depending upon where the wheel stops, there's a spoke that's leaning up. So sometimes it might be fitness because I'm at the gym. So that's what I'm focused on right now is fitness. Again, always centered around faith, but so I'm focused on fitness. Sometimes I might be with the family, going out, date night, family night, birthday part, whatever. Other times it might be finances. I'm working. I got to make a living, right? But I used to have finances way higher. But here's what I've learned. Without fitness, if I'm laying sick in bed, unhealthy, I can't spend quality time with my family. I can't spend quality time with friends. I can't work even because I'm sick, I'm ill, whatever. So I never counted that high up on the chart. But as I get older, I've moved that up. Okay, so it's very important to take care of yourself. And I don't, the last few years I've been full-time caregiver for my dad, who just passed away recently. God love him. Awesome, incredible man, Yeah.
Every day in the morning, he would knock on my apartment. We lived in the same building near Bud, and when we lived in Orlando.
Yeah. So, great man, great role model. But I was so focused on keeping him alive and making sure he's taken care of and healthy, I kind of let myself. I wasn't worried about what I was eating, what I was doing. I didn't spend, And, a couple months after he passed, I'm like, wow, I went to the doctor and I got some numbers. I'm like, oh, wow, I need to pay attention. So, you got to take care of yourself. But again, those are the things that I kind of live life by, those 7 F's, and you can make your own. And when I say future, it's like that passion project, like you say, we knew a guy from Excel, who ended up becoming one of the first people ever to earn $1 million a month, and he did that 18 times. But I got to spend a lot of time with him, even in his own company that he started, and I got to win some trips and spend time at his beach house and all that stuff. But he had a plan. He had hired people who would give his money away because everyone would ask him for money, right? So he had people that hired that would give his money. They'd bring things to him. I looked at this. It's a good deal. But on a personal note, his goal was to give away every morning. He would take 5 $100 bills out. And by the end of the day, he'd give those away. Sometimes I got to experience it with him. It was amazing. So get this. So we're in Charleston, and he's got some great stories too, but we went to a lemonade stand. And so sometimes he'd give out 100 to 5 different people, or he'd give out maybe all 5 to one person. I'll tell you that story. But we were at a lemonade stand, and they were selling little girls selling lemonade, walking down the streets of Charleston, big churches and all these historical buildings. And Paul says, let me get a glass of lemonade. And so they make it up, and he goes, here you go, keep the change. 'Cause I think it was $1, And he gives the little girl $100. And the parents are like, what? No, we can't. She can't take that. No. The little girl's like, yeah, I can take it. But the parents are like, no, I can't take that. And he goes, no, I want you to have it. But he shared with us. We went to church when we were out there. He shared with us that, he would be led on who to give it to. And he said one day he went into a convenience store, and the lady who helped him was miserable. She was mean and ornery and everything. And he walked out, and he said he was prompted by the Holy Spirit to go back in and give her $500. So he said, God, are you sure? Do you saw how she just treated me? He said, yeah, I'm sure. So he went in and gave it to her. She needed it. she needed it for her family, for her kids, to put food on her table. And she apologized and hugged him and all this stuff. But, he didn't do it for the hugs and in fact, a lot of it he did anonymously, right? Or he'd, hand he said one time he was flying and he was so busy getting ready for his trip that he didn't give any. You said negative family members. You had certain people pop into your head. You may have to spend time with them once or twice a year, Thanksgiving, Christmas, whatever. And, you hear all they do is complain and they're negative about everything. And you're like, at the end of the day, you just want to go and wash the negative off. I got to take a shower and wash this off, right? They don't even let you try to lift them up because they never stop, So anyways,
what did Jesus say? What did Jesus say when you go in the house? If you're not welcome, just kick your feet, kick that dirt off your feet, right, when you walk out.
That's right. Absolutely right. So when you have like-minded, like-hearted, positive, goal-oriented people moving in the same direction, there's a special bond there that you don't get with your family. I mean, some of my closest friends to this day, I met decades ago. We met decades ago. And there's been times we haven't worked the same businesses. That's never one. I mean, our families have gone on vacation. You're welcome here anytime. I'm welcome at your house anytime. You can have the keys to the castle, right? There's relationships that you'll build that'll be stronger than family relationships. In fact, they become family. You are family. We are brothers, not only in Christ, but also in life. So, yeah, that's the most important part of the of any business. Find your tribe, and when you do, you're going to jive. I mean, it's be a great fit. So, yeah, I'm excited about taking more trips together with your wonderful family and my wonderful family, cruises and whatnot, anything like that. But yeah, that was easy. Relationships.
I remember, I got to tell you this. I don't know if I've ever told you this. I remember when we lived in Texas together, big giant home. It was beautiful. And I had the honor, the privilege that Bud brought me in like family and to live with him. You see, now you're making me cry, bro.
Good. I'm not the only one. Go, Bud.
And I was living with Bud in Texas. And I remember, this is like 25 years ago, 23 years ago maybe. Okay, so I remember I was the one that always, because I was always staying up later than everybody else in the house. I was the last one that would go to bed. So I guess I had done this before, where Bud one night said, "Randy, come with me." And he walked me around the house to every doorway where there was an opening that needed to be locked, because I guess I had been leaving the doors open at night when I went to bed. And he walked me around the house, bro. And I locked to make sure that every door was always locked before I went to bed. I still do that now at my house. I'll walk around, make sure that I think about you, bro. All my friends now that I have from Amway, I was talking to one of them the other day on the phone, a couple of them that are my best friends, man. You hear me say it on here all the time, my best friend, they are. They're like my brothers. They're my tribe, my buddies, people that I've known for years that I met in this industry. Nelson Rodriguez, there's tons of them. I'm so lucky. We're so lucky to have the amount of awesome best friends that we have, bro. I'm telling you, that's the best thing about this business.
Yep, I agree 1,000%. I don't believe it's luck. I don't believe in luck, chance, or coincidence. I believe it's God's will. And, luck is an acronym. It stands for laboring under correct knowledge. If you're doing things for the right reasons, you've heard me say this: get your heart right, get your head right, and your bank accounts, plural, will follow.
I have that on my wall right now. That's one of the ones I always talk about, putting it up on your wall. Well, Bud told me that a while back because I was kind of pissed off about my financial situation and what we've been going through. And they say it's harder to have made a lot of money and then lose it than to have never made it at all. And let me tell you, when you're making good money and it's all of a sudden that freaking hose stops pouring out the money, stops. Not a little bit or it goes down. No, it stops. And it's happened to us. Okay? It changes you, man. And Bud said, listen, he told me, when you get your heart right and you get your head right, your bank accounts are going to follow. And I got it on my wall, man, in front of my desk where I sit every day.
And I can't take credit for that either, Randy. I think that came from Rick. Yeah,
Rick Presley, baby. Rick,
who learned it where? Who learned it where?
From the Bible.
In Amway.
Oh, in Amway. Okay, I always thought you were going to say the Bible.
Yeah. I'm sure it's biblical in principle,
sure
but he learned it in Amway. But
Amway was an amazing experience. Excel was they've all been just an amazing experience, in all the network marketing businesses that we've been involved in. It's just like you said, man, as long as the company has got the right core values and they do it right, we can blow it up and help a lot of people. Bro, it's been such a fun time hanging out with you here, man.
Yeah, it has. I can't believe it. Yeah, I know we could, and I know we will later in the day. But, thanks for having me on. And, again, to all your listeners and viewers and followers and stuff, I just got to say, stay plugged into Randy. It's one of the best things you'll do. He's infectious. He's passionate. He's driven. He's ambitious. He's motivating. And not only that, aside from me, most of the guests he's had on and will have on are going to change your life too, right?
amazing. These guys are just top notch. This has been the most incredible run and experience for me. I've had so much fun. And like Bud said, man, all I'm bringing up here, the only folks that I'm bringing, I couldn't wait to bring Bud up. I was actually saving Bud. I was going to wait a couple more because Bud is such an incredible human being, and he has so much gold to share with you guys and knowledge. An hour is not enough time. We're going to have Bud back on here again a couple more times. He's my business partner that I work with on a daily basis. We speak multiple times a day. This guy is my best friend, my brother, my father figure. I love him. Thank you for coming on, man.
Thanks for having me. God bless everyone.
God bless you guys. We'll see you here again soon. I love you all. Peace.